title this one, Big Noise in Winnetka. It's the 1995 Illinois High School Association Boys Swimming and Diving Championships. Welcome in, sports fans. I'm Brian Davis, along with our expert analyst, the coach, Tim Dowling, setting you up for an afternoon's worth of tremendous excitement. And you don't have to be an insider. You do not have to be a hardcore aquatics fan to get into this one this afternoon. The common wisdom going in was that this would be a four-team race. Naperville North, Hinsdale Central, Fremd High School of Palatine, the defending state champion, also Marmion Academy, and those four teams are still very much in the hunt. We will also add to that Peoria Richwood's High School, so a good team setup this afternoon. But also, Tim, as far as the individuals, boy, I'll tell you what, we saw some terrific action yesterday in the preliminaries, and one guy who comes right to mind is Tucker Shade, the outstanding athlete from MacArthur High School in the Decatur, who absolutely shattered his state record.
Right, Tucker Shade is the defending state champion in the 100 butterfly, and not only did he set himself up as the lead swimmer, but he broke the state record. Also, he's the #1 seed in the 50-yard freestyle.
One of the other guys that you want to look at, too, in terms of the best performers in this meet here on the North Shore, you look at Bill Bishop out of Barrington High School, who was absolutely dominant yesterday, not just in one event, Tim, but in two.
Right, Bill has done a great job all year for Barrington. He's the lead finalist in the individual medley, and he really walked away from the field in the 500, so we should see a great race for him.
Two old friends meet in the diving finals, Ryan Lee of Kankakee and Kevin Francis out of Libertyville High School.
Right, Ryan Lee has led this contest from start to finish, but he's got one dive, the last dive, where he's giving Kevin Francis a little bit of an opening, so it's all going to come down to that last dive.
Definitely something to watch there. And now we've talked about some of the veterans, but also, Tim, you get to the state finals, and there are always some newcomers to watch, and we have a couple of those as well.
Right, we have two freshmen that are really making their mark in high school swimming. Tim Berry from Oak Park River Forest is in both the 200 and the 500. They're going to score a lot of points, and they might even sneak in for a win. And Justin Nuida from New Trier, home swimmer, his 200 IM and the 100-yard backstroke, he should do very well, being that this is his home pool.
From the individuals back to the teams, Hinsdale Central would seem to be the team to beat. Really a two-horse race as far as the team championship goes between Hinsdale Central and Fremd, again the defending state champion.
Right, it's going to be very close. The fortunate thing for both teams is they have their championship heat relays all set to go, and those three relays can be worth well over 100 points, and one mistake and you're out of the championship.
Well, stand by. We're about to get going. Our first event, the 200 Medley Relay with Tim Dowling. I'm Brian Davis. Back to Big Noise in Winnetka after these words. It's the Illinois High School Association Boys Swimming and Diving Championships. It's title time at New Trier. Welcome back. It is the Illinois High School Association Boys Swimming and Diving Championships. Counting you down with Tim Dowling, Brian Davis. Tim, it's the 200 Medley Relay. Best in the bunch in the preliminaries. Hinsdale Central at a time a second and a half faster than the best sectional time previously. Now let's count them down. Lanes 2 through 7 they're racing. In lane 2 will be Naperville Central at the far side of your screen. Conant High School in lane 3, Freeport High School, Freeport Senior in lane 4, Fenwick High in lane 5, Downers Grove South in lane 6, and Brother Rice High School of Chicago in lane 7.
Okay, we have some backstrokers from Conant High School, Tim Sheely in lane 3, and Jeff Hupper from Downers Grove. They should get their teams off to an early lead.
50 each, backstroke, breaststroke, butterfly, and freestyle. The swimmers getting ready to take their marks. And Tim, I have to wonder, when you're the first guy out of the blocks, how high are you?
Hey, these kids are flying right now. You know, they spent all year working just to get to this meet. The crowd is, as you can hear, very loud, and if you've never experienced this before, this is very exciting.
It's standing room only here at New Trier High School in Winnetka as they get ready to fire it up for the first championship event, this the Consolation Race. And they're off.
Again, in lane number 3, Tim Sheely from Conant should get his team off to a slight lead. In lane 2, you have Eric Lazarai. Lane 4 is Kyle Undersea. Lane 5 is Tim Keeley. 6, Jeff Hupper, and 7 is TJ Suzga.
Good challenge down here in lane 6 from the guy from Downers Grove South. He's going to take it into the turn and to the transition in the lead, Downers Grove South.
Hey, the fun part about the Medley Relay is you have 4 distinct strokes. In lane 4, Mark Rotflat should bring his team back, as well as Mike Brennan from Fenwick in lane 5. They're both very good breaststrokers.
DG South and now Naperville Central is making a move at the top of your screen in lane 2, and also in lane 5, Oak Park's Fenwick High School.
Mike Brennan, Alberto Aldana is getting his team off, getting him going now.
Into the butterfly we go, and it is still Downers Grove South. Downers Grove South, actually, their man has got about a half a body length on the representative from Naperville Central High School. It's DG South, and then in lane 4, right in the middle of your screen, Freeport Senior High School, their butterfly man is also making a move. He may lead.
Mike Miller.
And as a matter of fact, it is Freeport Senior in the lead as we go to the last 50 yards, down and back, and then the winner of this race, Freeport Senior High School, has the advantage, and down in lane number 6, next to the bottom on your screen, it's DG South.
Okay, Dave Kinsella from Downers Grove North and Derek Rashid from Freeport.
Freeport is your winner in lane 4. Freeport wins, and then with the second place by a hair to Fenwick High School of Oak Park, your winning time, 1 minute 38 and 17 100ths of a second.
Okay, not too much changing from the team competition in that race, but we had a lot of great swims. Derek Rashid and Jim Anderson finished from Fenwick. Jim Anderson brought his team back from a far third to pull up the second place.
Let's take a look at the end of the race. Also in third place, Downers Grove South, a little bit of a fade, but again, the margins are so close here, Tim.
Right in the center of your lane, Jim Anderson brought him in for second, Dave Kinsella for third, but Derek Rashid held on for a championship.
Fourth place finish, Naperville Central in 5th place in the Consolation Race at a minute 39.65. That's Hoffman Estates. Now let's set it up for the championship race. This is the big one. The state record, a minute 35.36 seconds. Hinsdale Central ran this one in a minute 37 and 53 hundredths yesterday. In lane 2, that's Marmion Academy of Aurora, Illinois. Lane 2 again to the top of your screen. And then as we count it down 2 through 7, Naperville North will run in lane 3. In lane 4, Hinsdale Central, again your team leader coming into this championship round today, Tim. Peoria Richwood's making a nice move yesterday in the preliminaries, and they are in the hunt for some kind of hardware. Peoria Richwood's running the 200 medley relay in lane 5. Lane 6, Oak Park River Forest High School, and then at the bottom of your screen in lane 7, Fremd High School, the defending champion from Palatine. Runners take their marks. And they're off.
Okay, we have some great backstrokers. Chris Bateman from Hinsdale Central should get his team off, but watch for lane 7, Jay Glenn from Palatine Fremd to also help them out.
Bateman into the water first in lane 4, but as a matter of fact, Jay Glenn from Fremd and Palatine has got the early lead, but check out the top of your screen, the man from Marmion Academy.
Scott Hale. He's got Jason Nagel, who's one of our top breaststrokers, so he should help his team. Hinsdale Central with Adam Dietz, also a very good breaststroker.
Great exchange for Fremd of Palatine down here at the bottom in lane 7.
Mike Patlaw has got his team going. This event is going to make the meet. Whoever wins.
Patlaw is your leader, and then go back to the top of your screen, fans. Naperville North is also making a move. Naperville North, 2, 3, and 4. Marmion, Naperville North, and Hinsdale Central all bidding for the lead. Lane 3 into the water first. That's Naperville North.
Lane 3, Brian Kelly, but he's going to be tough. Cam Corden from Hinsdale is going to chase him down a little bit. Up in lane number 7, you have the freshman, 6, Tim Berry from Oak Park. In lane 6, he's brought his team back. Your finals, Richwood is lane 5. Bob Springsteen is going to have a hard time catching him.
Looks like a dead heat as we go into the final 50 yards. Marmion Academy, and was that Richwoods or Oak Park? I got my cross eyes here.
Well, you got Vince Kuna in lane number 3 from Naperville North with a slight lead. And from Oak Park River Forest, Dan Lund. But it looks like Vince Kuna up in lane 3 may hang on.
And it is, in fact, Vince Kuna winning the state championship for Naperville North. 1 minute. 37 and 31 hundredths of a second, and that about 2 ticks better then your runner-up, Peoria Richwood's a good, strong finish from the freestyler from Richwoods.
They all went about the same time as they did yesterday. The difference is the placing. Hinsdale went from first to third. That's an 8-point shift.
Check out the last turn, Tim, and also take note that the second place and third place, the difference is only 0.03 of a second.
Okay, as they're coming down, Vince Cuna's got a nice lead, but they're closing on him real fast in lane number 5. Bob Springsteen, he almost got him.
Stand by. We're going to go ahead and send him to the podium momentarily with Tim Dowling. I'm Brian Davis from New Jersey High School in Winnetka. It's the 1995 IHSA Boys Swimming and Diving Championships. Nice win for the Huskies of Naperville North High School as they pick up their gold medals for the 200-yard medley relay from Art Edstrom from Deerfield High School. He's the president of the Illinois Swimming Association. He's co-chairman of the IHSA Boys and Girls Swimming Advisory Committee. I say, Tim Dowling, nice victory because the relay races where you can pick up some serious points, and Naperville North came in here third today in the team standings.
All right, Naperville North did a great job. They had a +8 on their seed. Hinsdale Central lost 8. What we're going to see is a tightening of the meet.
Fremd High School also came in, and just to reset, it was Hinsdale Central, Fremd, Naperville North, Marmion, and Peoria Richwoods by team standing after the preliminaries.
Yeah, they all moved up. Fremd moved up a little bit, picked up a few extra points. The meet is going to be very tight. This is not going to be over to the last relay.
So you're winning time fairly well off the state record of 1:35.36 set by Hinsdale Central in 1992. Naperville North wins it in 1 minute 37.31 seconds. Then Peoria Richwoods, Hinsdale Central third, Fremd fourth, your 5th place finisher Oak Park River Forest, and then Marmion Academy of Aurora with a 6th place time, only a half second, well I say only, off the winning time registered by Naperville North. As we go into event number 2, the 200-yard freestyle, a couple of minutes worth of good endurance here, and this is the consolation race. Let's go ahead and set the field again, top to bottom of your screen. Lane 2 will be Chris Ferris of Naperville Central High School. Then lane 3, the veteran Wes Rudin out of Ursuline in Springfield, Illinois. Tim Shealy of Conard High School in lane 4. Parker Shade, yeah, he's the brother from MacArthur and Decatur in lane 5. Frank Leo of Brother Rice in lane 6. And then swimming in the bottom of your screen from Lincoln High School, Dirk Steinfort.
Okay, we're looking for a very good race. All 6 of these swimmers swam a nice even pace yesterday. Chris Ferris tended to swim it a little bit better than everybody else, and he seemed to hold back at the end. I'd look for Rudin and Leo to take charge early and try to beat the field down.
Now, generally speaking, when you take a look at the setup for the team champion, I just want to touch on that again, Tim. You look for the big points in the relays, and then the individual meets. Of course, the top teams also have a bunch of guys represented in these individual races, and we'll see some of that begin to play out here now.
Especially in the next heat, Fremd has 2 swimmers in the finals heat, so that will get them a lot of points. The relays count for double, so those are very big points, and that's why teams tend to shoot for those 3 relays.
When you look at the point distribution for a relay, the winner gets 32 points, then second place you drop off to 26, then 24, and then down by 2 from so on, but it's a 6-point spread. So Naperville North did a little bit of damage there to Hinsdale Central as the front runner, again Fremd in second place, and really we thought that it would be a 2-team race for the state title going in today.
Right. I think Naperville may have moved themselves back up into contention. They looked a little sluggish yesterday, but with this win, that should help them.
What we're waiting for now is the replacement of the flags. Now, for the layman, for somebody who doesn't quite understand what this is all about, these are the markers for the backstrokers, right?
Right. Usually they only use the flags for the medley relay, the individual medley, and the backstroke, and they seem to have taken them down, but somebody wants them back up again, so we're going to use them all the way through the meet.
If you are a swimmer waiting on the podium, what are you thinking right now?
They're wondering, what is the delay? I've been waiting all year for this race, and now I've got to wait after they've gotten me up to the blocks.
Do you actually, I mean, in the minutes before a race, do you actually wind up sort of peaking? Is there an adrenaline rush that your body clock tells you, oh, okay, I'm 5 minutes from race time, and so it's time to fire up? Are we cutting into that time for these guys?
Most definitely. These kids, you know, they've almost got this down. They know at 120 they're going to be swimming, and now they're being held up. It's very disconcerting for them.
The inside track for the team championship does seem to be held by Hinsdale Central. They have 4 swimmers going individually for hardware and the big points in the finals, plus 2 more in the consolation races. Naperville North with 3 places in the finals. Chad Gandon, as a matter of fact, in the 50 and 100-yard freestyles with 2 consolation swimmers. Well, here, let's get going on the consolation race here in the 200-yard freestyle. We are about to begin as the racers take their marks. Once again, lanes 2 through 7, top to bottom of your screen. And they're off.
Okay, at the top of the screen, Chris Ferris. He's also in the 500, so he's a very strong swimmer, long stroke, tends to keep an even pace. Wes Rudin has changed events. Last year, he finished 9th in the IM. He's decided to try a different race. Tim Sheely, also a finalist in the 500.
Very even distribution with an edge in lane 6 to Frank Leo of Brother Rice High School, and then back toward the top of your screen, you've got Ferris, Rudin, and Sheely running fairly even as they hit the first 50 yards, get the first quarter of the race out of the way.
Yeah, I look at Frank Leo. He's a very strong swimmer. He swam a nice 500 yesterday, worked towards negative splitting. He went out, tried to bring it back a little faster. He's a strong swimmer. He finished 10th in this race last year. I think that he's going to take command.
Halfway through the race, Leo, he's got a very fluid style. Your unofficial split about 49, 50 seconds, Tim.
Yeah, 50 seconds. He was out yesterday a little bit slower. Actually, yeah, a little bit slower yesterday. He was 50.4. Today he's 50.3. You should start to see Tim Sheely from Hoffman in the middle of your lane start to catch up to him.
He is establishing, as a matter of fact, a rally, and in fact, it is now a neck-and-neck situation. Sheely seems to have taken a slight lead by, say, well, let's call it a hand, shall we?
Yeah, they're just a little bit faster than yesterday. Tim Sheely is pulling up, though. He seems to be a little bit stronger.
Sheely, and then you've got a man in lane number 2, Chris Ferris from Naperville Central, making a move. Hey, I like the close that Frank Leo seems to have regained a bit of his momentum, but he's getting a race now from Dirk Steinfort of Lincoln High School. But once again, Tim Sheely of Conard High School and Hoffman Estates, a very nice finish, a very strong kick the last 50 yards. He wins it in 1 minute 43.64 seconds.
Great race. They both improved their times. Tim Sheely dropped a second. Frank Leo dropped a second. The whole field improved their times, which is not very common in a consolation heat. Usually they swim at or a little bit slower than their prelim times.
As these things go, as a matter of fact, you take a look at the spread between 1 and 2 and your second place finisher here in the consolation race, Frank Leo of Brother Rice. 0.3 of a second, Tim, in these events. It's like track and field. You know, it's hundredths of a second that you usually count them in, not tenths. That's quite a difference.
Yeah, this was a very close race. We're looking at a second in the entire field. The kids are all pretty evenly matched at this point. Once they get to the finals, they know what their competition is.
Here we go with the big dogs. This is the championship race, the 200-yard freestyle. As you see on your screen, the state record 137.34. Your best time yesterday, 141.11 by Greg Bussey of Waubonsee Valley. Let's take a look at the competitors. Lane 2 to the outside, Greg Plank of Palatine High School. Then Tim Berry, who is just a freshman, one of the up-and-comers from Oak Park River Forest High School. Greg Bussey is in lane 4. Josh Mathias of Mundelein, lane 5. Paul DeRusso of Fremd is in lane 6. Mark Kajowski of Fremd High School also right next to his teammate in lane 7.
Okay, Greg Bussey is like a sprinter. He just takes off and hopes to leave the field. Greg Plank finished 7th in this race last year. He wants to really do well.
Outstanding extension off the platform by Greg Bussey, the sophomore from Waubonsee Valley High School. He's neck and neck. Check out Greg Plank at the top of your screen from Palatine.
Mark Kajewski in lane number 7. He's going after team points, as is Paul DeRusso. Both from Friend at the bottom of our screens, but I'd look for Greg Bussey to hang in there.
Kajowski is third. He has got a race for third place going with Josh Mathias, the senior from Mundelein High School at this point. Give the slight edge. Check the top of your screen. Greg Plank of Palatine has now taken about a half body length lead over Greg Bussey.
They're both out about a second faster than yesterday. They're both going strong. Tim Berry, who goes out slow normally and then comes back the last 100, is right on his pace.
Tim Berry is in third place, then Josh Mathias in fourth place. Let's go ahead down to, well, here we come, down the stretch they come, and it looks like Greg Plank is in very nice shape right now as he gets ready to make his final turn, or actually next to last turn. This is your last 50 yards. It is Greg Plank and then Greg Bussey and everybody else fighting for third.
Greg looks like he's going very strong. He's got about a half a body length lead going down up in lane 2. Gary Bussey almost caught him on the turn. It looks like we're going to come right down to the touch.
Oh, Bussey
Greg is coming.
Greg Bussey made an outstanding turn, and he's making a charge, but it's going to be Greg Plank of Palatine with Bussey, your second place finisher, and then in third place in lane 5 right next. That being Josh Mathias out of Mundelein High School, your unofficial winning time. Now make it your official winning time, 1 minute 40.63 seconds, and that again about 3/10 of a second faster than the next best guy. Let's take a look at the end of the race. Once again, as you mentioned, Greg Bussey with an outstanding turn down the stretch.
But Greg Plank, he's 3 seconds faster than he was yesterday, and it all came down in that third 50. He was very slow yesterday at the third 50. Today he was all 3 seconds faster, and that was the big difference.
Your third place finisher, Josh Mathias of Mundelein High School. So we're 2 down and a bunch to go. It's big noise in Winnetka. With Tim Dowling, I'm Brian Davis, and this is the IHSA Boys Swimming and Diving Championships. Coming up, the 200-yard individual medley, but here is your state champion in the 200-yard freestyle, Greg Plank of Palatine High School, with a winning time of 1 minute 40.63 seconds. The presenter, the runner-up's mom, Judy Bussey, who is the head girls swimming coach at Downers Grove North High School, who is one of the wheels within the wheels helping the IHSA set up for the state final meet.
Okay. Greg did a great job coming from the outside, being up in lane 2. Maybe nobody saw him, and he just was able to sneak up on everybody.
About 3/10 of a second behind the winner, Greg Plank, Greg Bussey of Waubonsee Valley, and then Josh Mathias of Mundelein High School. The young gun, Tim Berry, freshman from Oak Park River Forest. Your fourth place finisher, Paul DeRusso of Fremden, 5th. And then Mark Kajowski, his teammate, in 6th place. Now let's take a look. Here we go for the consolation on the 200-yard individual medley. Again, we'll remind you as we go along here, we're looking from top to bottom. Lane 2 at the top of your screen will be Blake Redson out of Woodstock High School. Chris Meyer of Marmion Academy in Aurora in lane 3. Jay Glenn of Frem. Here's another one of those guys in lane 4. Brian Mosher of University High in Normal is in lane 5. As we move to the bottom of your screen, Peter Odland of Community High School in Normal in lane 6, and Mike Revers of Waubonsee Valley is at the bottom in lane 7. This is the consolation race in the 200 individual medley.
Okay, all these swimmers are relatively even in the butterfly, so they should go down and come back about the same.
Good start, and you are absolutely right, an even start. And Tim, is this one of the most demanding individual events? Let's talk about for the layman, what are we talking about? We start with the butterfly, and then we go in 50s where?
Well, we're going into the butterfly, then we go to backstroke. The hardest part about this is the training. You can't specify one specific stroke. You have to train them all. So it is one of the more difficult strokes to work on.
Jay Glenn from Fremd High School in Palatine is your early leader, and he's actually got a fairly comfortable edge, it would appear, over Peter Odland of Community High School in Normal, who is down here again toward the bottom of your screen in lane 6. Right. And then a battle for third place back up to the top in lanes 2 and 3.
Okay. Chris Meyer, a freshman from Marmion Academy in lane number 3, is a very strong breaststroker. As he comes off the wall, you should see him start to give Jake Glenn a little bit of a race.
But boy, I'll tell you what, Jay Glenn went into the breaststroke with a terrific lead, but now we go and we look at Chris Meyer, and here he comes.
He's coming on strong. The other boys are all even breaststrokers, so it's going to be a two-man race at the wall. Jay Glenn is a stronger freestyler than Chris, so it's got to see what happens at the end.
Who's got the best kick? Your third place right now, Brian Moshier of University High in normal, but once again, your leader, Chris Meyer, the freshman from Marmion Academy. Let's see what Jay Glenn can do as far as the catch-up. And now, look in lane 4 at Jay Glenn. No, is that right? Yeah, no, lane 5. I'm talking about Moshier from University in normal.
Chris Meyer looks very strong. He might have done something. His coach must have talked to him about coming back in that last leg. They aren't going to catch him. The race now is for second, and it looks like Jay Glenn.
Jay Glenn will take it, but your consolation winner, Chris Meyer of Marmion Academy, with Jay Glenn and Brian Moshier. Good, strong finish for the runner-up positions in that race.
Well, we certainly haven't seen any favorites winning any races yet, so it looks like it's going to be a wide-open meet.
So, all right, lane 3, Chris Meyer wins the consolation round. 1:55 and, a shade more than a half, 1:55.53. Then right next to him, Jay Glenn from Fremd High School. Third place goes to Brian Moshier of University High in normal. And let's take a look at the end of the race as we break down the winners. What are we looking at here? The move that did not come, I guess.
No, well, he didn't have any time. Chris Meyer just opened up such a lead coming off the breaststroke that nobody had a chance to catch him.
And look at the move that Moshier makes at the end, and once again falls just shy. Your fourth place goes to Peter Odland of Community High in normal. Mike Revers of Waubonsee Valley in 5th place, and then back up the top of Woodstock High, Blake Redson. Now let's go to the championship event. Mike Berlatek of Lake Forest High School will be your top screen swimmer. He is in lane 2. Ryan Ruddy, the senior from University High in normal, in lane 3. Bill Bishop, an outstanding swimmer on his own. The junior from Barrington in the middle in lane 4. He was your top qualifier yesterday. Then the favorite son, Justin
Nowida.
Thank you very much. Justin Nowida, whose sister swam here in lane 5. Vince Allegra from Hinsdale Central High School, lane 6. Fenwick High School's Tim Keeley is in lane 7 at the bottom of your screen.
Okay, Mike Berlatek is a butterflyer. Justin Nowida's a butterflyer. Vince Allegra's a butterflyer. And Jim Kelly's a butterflyer. So you look at the middle of your field and you think, oh, they're falling apart. But don't worry about it. Ryan Ruddy he shaved off his goatee from last night, and he looks like he's ready to swim.
Vince Allegra showing strong here as we complete the butterfly portion. Vince Allegra will take the lead into the turn as they go now to the backstroke. What kind of a backstroker is Allegra out of Hinsdale Central?
Well, he's doing all right, but what we're going to see is Justin Nowida is a much better backstroker in lane 5. Ryan Ruddy is excelling in this race. And we also know that he should be one of the top qualifiers in the breaststroke.
Hey, look at the bottom of your screen. Tim Keeley, the senior from Fenwick High School, had a move there for a moment. Now he's lost a little bit of gas, and it is Nowida and Allegra. Top of your screen in lane 2. Berletic from Lake Forest, the senior, about 3rd place right as we stand.
Right. Ryan Ruddy should start making a move, as should Vince Allegra from Hinsdale Central. So we should see lanes 3 and 6 starting to make some moves.
Well, lane 3 will give him the lead. Ryan Ruddy moves into the lead, the senior from University High School, downstate in Normal, Illinois, and a great push off the wall coming back.
Well, Bill Bishop's a pretty decent breaststroker, and he's not making up any ground. So this looks like it's going to be a one-man show. Ryan Ruddy.
Holy smokes, he is a length and a half ahead of the next horse in the field, and that is Bill Bishop, the junior from Barrington High School. Now he's freestyling his way back. He is gaining some ground. Bill Bishop and then Mike Berletic from Lake Forest High School will put him in 3rd place. Don't count out Justin Nowida, though, the freshman, the homeboy from New Trier.
Right. It looks like first is over, but 2nd and 3rd is going to be real tough. Bill Bishop's with a slight lead. Justin Nowida coming on after him, and Mike Berlatek for 4th.
And there we go. A great close by Justin Nowida into 3rd place. Bill Bishop will be your runner-up to Ryan Ruddy from University High School in normal, your 1995 200-yard individual medley champion.
I think you obviously can hear he was the fans' favorite in this race.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you what, as he came to close, as he got ready to hit that touchpad,
yes,
the crowd just went crazy for the guy. Your 4th place finisher, Tim Keeley, out of Fenwick High School in Oak Park. 5th place to Mike Burletic from Lake Forest, and then your 6th place finisher, Vince Allegra from Hinsdale Central. Here's the difference in the race as we make that turn.
As they come off, we know that Ryan has got this one. Oh, they're going the breaststroke. So Brian coming off the breaststroke, he just keeps moving away from the field. And even though the other 3 seem to be gaining on him, they're not going anywhere. Vince Allegra seemed to catch up in the field, but lost it as he got to the freestyle. They all came off the wall well. Bill Bishop seemed to get a much better push off than either Justin or Vince that were swimming next to him.
Now, let's not write off a guy like Bill Bishop from Barrington High School. He was, again, not just the best in the field here yesterday. He was absolutely dominant. We'll see him again in the 500. So Bill Bishop is a guy, hey, pencil him in for some good stuff later on with Tim Dowling. I'm Brian Davis. Coming up next, well, we've got more to come. We're going to go from the 200-yard individual medley to the sprint. Oh, I love this. The 50-yard freestyle coming up on the 95 IHSA Swimming and Diving Championships. Senior Ryan Ruddy from University High School in Normal, Illinois gets a standing ovation as he scores one for the Downstaters. His winning time, 1:54.23 seconds, and look at him. Is he fired up or what?
Yeah, Ryan looks like he feels pretty happy about this.
His fans, most of them congregated over near our broadcast position up in the balcony here at New Trier High School. And once again, Ryan Ruddy with a very decisive victory, 7/10 of a second fully over Bill Bishop, the junior from Barrington.
Yeah, then, he walked away with that race.
Oh, Justin DeWida, the freshman. Here's promise that will later deliver in a big way, you figure. At 1:55.26, Justin DeWida from New Trier High School, 4th place to Tim Keeley of Oak Park's Fenwick High School. Mike Burletic of Lake Forest High in 5th place, and then the Hinsdale Central, Vince Allegra, at 1:56 and 99 seconds. Now, hey, folks, don't blink, because you'll miss this one. It's the sprint, the 50-yard freestyle, winning times in the low 20s. Let's take a look at the field for the Consolation Race. Alex Hoffman of Lake Forest High School in lane 2. Lane 3, Joe McCombs of Marmion Academy. Mike Miller from Freeport Senior in lane 4. Bob Springsteen from Peoria Richwood, lane 5. Maine South Street, Paschke, lane 6. And Dominic Pingali of Lyons Township High School at the bottom of your screen in lane 7, and they're off.
This is a big race. A lot of fun to watch. It's down and back. The swimmers will maybe take 3 breaths. They'll come off the wall, try to stay underneath the waves that they just brought in with them, and kick up hard. Anyone can win it. Dom Condani on the bottom of the pool, lane 7. Might be a sentimental favorite, and I think...
looks like Joe McCombs.
No.
Oh, no, Condani did. He most certainly did. Joe McCombs made a move, but Condani beat him to the touchpad.
Condani came out of his turn, got up on top of the water, and there wasn't much way that anybody else was going to catch him.
21.42 seconds and 0.06 of a second better than Joe McCombs. And you take a look at the board, and when you talk about a 50-yard race, the margins are really not very great at all. Let's take a look at the end of this thing again. I thought your man in lane 3 toward the top, the guy from Marmion Academy, McCombs the senior, was going to do it. But as we take a look, Tim, here Condani just bowls it out and guts it out.
Yeah, he had a much stronger lead than everybody thought coming in, and the reach was just there. He had a great race. 3rd
place in lane 4 in the Consolation Race to Mike Miller of Freeport Senior High School, and then Bob Springsteen of Peoria Richwood, another team contender, the 4th place finisher in lane 5. Now here, one of these guys will be your champion. Let's take a look at the lane assignment for the championship round of the 50-yard freestyle sprint. Chris Dix of Mount Prospect High School from Fremd High School in lane 3. Jim Patla from Fremd and Palatine. Tucker Shade from Decatur MacArthur. Here's the guy you like in this one, I think, but don't count out Chad Gandon from Naperville North. Kurt Larson, Palatine, lane 6. Ryan Monaghan of Peoria Woodruff in lane 7. They're off.
Anyone can win this race. Up in the top, Chris Dix. He was 4th in this race last year. Jim Patla was 5th. And Ryan Lonergan tied for 2nd.
Tucker Shade mid-screen, lane 4. Tucker Shade was your top qualifier, but he's getting all he can handle from Jim Patla of Fremd High School in Palatine. It looks like it's going to be
Tucker Shade.
And it is. Oh my gee. Yes, sir. Tucker Shade in 21. seconds.
Yep. Tucker gets, when he comes off the turn, he has a tendency to stay a little bit deeper, a little longer than most of the other kids. That seems to work to his advantage. He's getting out, he's using his legs.
Let's take a look at the last and, in fact, the only turn in this race. Chad Gandon from Naperville North is your second place finisher here.
As you see, he was the last one to pop his head up. He's gotten out further than everybody else, and they're chasing him. Staying under the water is good up to a point. It seems to work well for him.
So Tucker Shade, forgive me, the rookie miscounts his lanes. Tucker Shade was in good position to take that one all the way. Chad Gandon, though, an outstanding swimmer and a good finish to take second place. Third place in this race to Chris Dix from Prospect High School, the senior, with an unofficial time of 21.29 seconds. So the sprint is done, and when we come back, we're going to get the diving championships underway with Tim Dowling. I'm Brian Davis. Big noise in Winnetka, the IHSA 95 Boys Swim and Diving Championships.
Ameritech, your link to better communication.
When you run a race in 21 seconds and change, you can't quite leave anybody in the shade, so no bad puns for this guy. But Tucker Shade of MacArthur High School in Decatur accepts his gold medal as your 50-yard freestyle champion for 1995. His winning time, not bad, 21 1/100ths of a second. He accepts his award from Carol Bobo, one of our presenters here this afternoon. She is the head girls swimming coach at Hinsdale Central High School. Let's take a look at the results. Shade again, 21:01, and then Chad Gandon, an outstanding run and some good point production there for Naperville North, 21.12 seconds. Chris Dix from Prospect High School, your third place finisher. Then Jim Patla from Fremd, actually tie for fourth place with Patla, and Ryan Lonergan from Peoria Woodruff High School tied at 21.39 seconds. And then Kirk Larson, your sixth place finisher out of Palatine High School, 21.43. Stand by. We're going to go ahead and see how they dive. This is one of those that sort of the crowd gets into because you never know what's going to happen here. Some thrills and chills for the fans at New Trier. It's the 1995 IHSA Swimming and Diving Championships. Back to Winnetka momentarily. The broadcast rights to today's meet have been granted to Sports Channel by the IHSA. Any production or rebroadcast of this event without the written consent of the IHSA and Sports Channel is strictly prohibited. Brian Davis and Tim Dowling back at New Trier High School in Winnetka as we go, Tim, into the diving competition in which there is no consolation round, but this is one of the most complicated sequences that we'll see this afternoon. This is the fifth event, a total of 12 medal events here at the championships. I'll tell you one thing, this one, you want to talk about a two-horse race, it really would seem to be the two old friends that we mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast. Now let's take a look at the order of competition. First of all, we'll be looking at Scott Jensen from Schaumburg High School, then Brent Howell from Waubonsee Valley. Ryan Lee, here's one of the old friends from Kankakee, Todd Brennaman from Lake Park High School, Mark Michelin from Barrington, Joe Canecar from Brother Rice High School, from Andrew in Tinley Park, Alvin Taylor, who is a senior, then a sophomore. Good bloodlines, Kevin Duda from Homewood Flossmoor High School, Frank Margarone from Naperville Central, Mike Flauser of Kankakee Senior High School, or actually he is a Kankakee High School senior. He is going to dive 10th. 11th, Andy Dale from Friend High School, and then the other old friend, Kevin Francis from Libertyville High School. And we joke about Lee and Francis. Lee was third, Francis was fourth, 4.5 points behind Lee a year ago in this event.
Well, we're going to see some great diving between those two, especially as we come down to the last dive. We're looking at a recovery from Kevin Francis. He played football this fall, tore up his knee a little bit, so he's been recovering slowly. His dives are getting back to where they belong. He's only about 9 points behind going into these last three dives.
Now, 9 points. What kind of a spread is that, Tim, as we get ready for, and there will be 3 dives per competitor. Scott Jensen from Schaumburg getting ready to take the board. But 9 points, what kind of a spread is that?
9 points is nothing in the meet like this. Anything can happen. 9 points, they can make that up on one dive very quickly.
Ryan Lee from Kankakee at 342.3 points. Kevin Francis at 333.45, and then we go all the way. I mean, talk about a gap between second and third. Todd Brennaman with 284.3 out of Lake Park.
Okay, Scott Jensen is doing a forward dive, 1/2 twist. It's very important that he takes the dive straight up and does not over twist going into the water. We saw a little bit of the over twist.
Hit it fairly cleanly at the end. I guess to the layman, one of the things you look for at the end is the splash.
Okay, as he's going up, the judges are looking for his chest. If the judges see his chest, that means they know he's over twisted. And you have judges on both sides of the pool watching.
Here's Brett Howell, a senior from Waubonsee Valley. His preliminary achievement, 256 points. And what was that?
Okay, Brentwood also did a forward dive 1/2 twist. The judges, again, they're looking for the takeoff. They're looking for the takeoff, keeping his head up. As he takes off, he's got to look up and then down his arm for the water, getting his feet over his head, looking for the toe point. Looks like a very nice dive.
What is the degree of difficulty on that?
That's 1.8. All the voluntary dives are 1.8. Okay, Ryan Lee, he's starting off his final round with a difficult dive. He's doing a back 1 1/2 somersault, 1 1/2 twist. So he's going to be turning around back towards the board, starting in a back position. Now, what he needs to make sure that he's doing is that he keeps his chest and head in line. And he's our leader, so this is an important dive for him. It has a high degree of difficulty.
Those. Okay. The crowd tells you something there, Tim.
Okay, it's a very nice dive. He seemed to be just a little bit low. When he came out of the twist and looked for the water, he seemed to be just a little bit low with his legs, and he had to pike him back up. Feet are a little bit below him, but he gets him up, going into the water on a slight angle. Shouldn't hurt him at all.
So your leader, Ryan Lee, with a good first effort. Now let's take a look at Todd Brennaman from Lake Park High School in Roselle.
Okay, Todd is doing a forward dive, 1/2 twist. Each diver must do a voluntary dive in this round, and all of them have a degree of difficulty of 1.8. Seems to be a delay. Okay, while we're waiting for him, all of the required, what used to be required dives are now called voluntary dives, all have a degree of difficulty of 1.8.
Okay, now Todd Brennaman is sent off the board as some instruction given, I thought, to the judges. We'll see if we can sort that out. Worth noting that Todd Brennaman is the guy who is in third place right now, again substantially behind the chaser, Kevin Francis of Libertyville. Kevin Francis will be the 12th and final competitor here. But Francis trailing Ryan Lee by 9 points. Todd Brennaman trailing Kevin Francis by nearly 40 points.
It's a two-horse race, but third place, fourth, and fifth are all going to be close.
Make that nearly 50 points.
Again, the officials are looking for the takeoff, the position in the air, and then the entry. He's got his arms up, nice balanced position. He's pressing the board well. He seems to set very well.
I was going to ask you, does it matter where his feet come off the board? How were his feet placed?
Well, you want to be within the first couple inches of the board.
Here's Mark Michelin from Barrington.
Forward dive straight. His voluntary dive, he seems to stall out a little bit at the top. He gets off the board very well. As he gets up, his feet just don't seem to get up over the top as well as the others. He puts it in the water very well. The judges said it was an okay dive.
Brother Rice High School, represented by Joe Canecar.
Okay, he's doing a forward dive, 1/2 twist. You see a lot of the divers are doing a twisting dive. That's a more difficult dive to control, and they always say they're harder dives to the end because they want to be here. Okay.
Seemed to have to feed over a little bit as he went in.
Right. There's a lot of physics in diving. If you move your head the wrong way, you're in trouble.
It's remarkable. It's remarkable to a non-swimmer and diver that
he just buried his head a little bit on that entry, and that's what caused his feet to jump over. Okay, Al Taylor from Tinley Park. He's doing a forward 1 1/2 somersault, 1 twist. You need to watch his feet when he comes off the board. Keep them together. Pretty good. A little bit low, but a very nice dive.
Alvin Taylor of Andrew High School in Tinley Park.
There. Okay, very nice dive. As he comes off the board, he needs to extend off his toes, and he gets that. He's got his toes pointed, and he gets a nice swing. His left arm seemed to be a little bit loose on the rotation, made it slow him down a little bit. Okay, Kevin Duda. He's doing a forward dive, 1/2 twist.
The sophomore from Homewood Flossmoor. Kevin Duda from Homewood Flossmoor, who yesterday came in at 271.8.
Okay, seems to have a little bit of a stall out at the top of the board. Doesn't seem to get off quite as well. Like he didn't hit his hurdle, and his feet just seem to be hanging over the board. He snuck him in.
Here's Frank Margarone, the senior from Naperville Central.
Okay, Frank is also doing the forward dive half twist. The officials have a chance to look at all these dives in line, so they can compare them pretty easily. Okay.
What'd you think, Coach?
Well, from where I'm standing, it looked like he didn't quite make his twist. See if the judges didn't like it. Judges didn't like it. As he came up, we're sort of still looking at his stomach. We shouldn't see anything but his side when he goes down into the water. And we're looking at his chest almost all the way down into the water.
Here's Mike Klauser of Kankakee.
Okay, Mike's doing a back dive. He's doing a standing dive. This is a good dive for him. He tends to stay with the board, keeps his shoulders in line. Gets up over the top, and it's close right to the bottom of the pool. Very nice dive.
That ought to move him up the board. The fellow before him, Frank Margarone from Naperville Central, was in 4th place coming in. Mike Klauser, though, will make a move there.
It gets his head in position, a good close with his hands, a nice rip entry. We can see a little bit of a save as he talks. The officials can't.
Andy Dale, the senior from Fremd High School, doing not only for himself, but for his team, the defending state champions.
Okay, forward dive, half twist. Got to watch his hurdle. He has a tendency to hurtle backwards. When he does, he could be in trouble. He hit it well. Nice dive.
Made it seem so easy.
When you're this good, it is easy. If you hit the mechanics, it works. He hit his mechanics. He hit the end of the board with his takeoff. He got his arms through and his head up. Spotted his entry and a nice close. Okay, Kevin.
One of the judges really liked it.
Well, Kevin Francis. Here's our chance. They're the competitor for the championship. It's going to be tough. He put it in. It was a good dive. I'm not sure it's worth 60 points.
He won't get that.
No, he got up well. He had a pretty good rotation. He had time to look for the water, but he's just a little low. Judges counted off a little bit.
6.5 though, Tim.
Right. Oh, that's no question. But when you're looking for a state championship, you needed the 7 and 7.5.
It's very interesting when you take a look at the crowd response here. A guy makes a move like that, and you get the oohs and ahs and the gasps.
Right.
They're not close to hitting it, folks.
No, not even close.
We're close to hitting the 100-yard butterfly. He's Tim Dowling. I'm Brian Davis. It's the 1995 IHSA Boys Swimming and Diving Championships from New Trier High School. Tune into Sports Channel Tuesday, March 4th for the best girls basketball players in the state. Beginning at 3 o'clock, we'll have the AA game live on Sports Channel. Then at 8, tune into Sports Channel Plus for the Single A game, and we'll have the Single A championship at 11:30 that night on Sports Channel. It's all right here on Sports Channel, your home for the IHSA IHSA. You hear the applause and you see the beam on the face of Ryan Lee, who is your 1995 IHSA boys diving champion. Brian Davis along with Tim Dowling back at New Trier High School, and Ryan Lee absolutely dominant here today as he held off, well, like I said before, Tim, his old buddy Kevin Francis from Libertyville beats him by 11 points.
Hey, Ryan just showing us his reverse dive layout. Did a beautiful dive, set him up. He took a chance with the reverse 2.5. It paid off for him and held on for the state championship.
Third and fourth place. Hey, some nice moves again. Ryan Lee wins it at 471.85 points. Kevin Francis second out of Libertyville High School at 460.5. But some nice moves made. Young Kevin Duda, the youngest guy in this field, the sophomore from Homewood Flossmoor High School, your third place finisher. Mike Klauser from Kankakee in fourth place at 367.35. So Duda third, Klauser fourth. Todd Brennaman out of Lake Park High School in Roselle was fifth, and Scott Jensen was sixth. Kevin Duda made a nice move, as did Mike Klauser.
Great moves.
100-yard butterfly coming up. Here is the consolation. And as we get to the 100-yard consolation, we get that started, look at your standings. We'll talk about those in just a moment.
Okay, you have at the top of your screen Mike Berlatek from Lake Forest, Ryan Nevins from Ottawa in 3, Vince Allegra, Hinsdale in 4, Dirk Steinfort from Lincoln in 5, Tim Keeley in 6 from Fenwick, and Yohei Yamada from Peoria Richwood.
Again, top to bottom, lanes 2 through 7, and the early lead seems to be Tim Keeley out of Fenwick, although it's pretty even, especially when you look at Nevins and Allegra in 3 and 4.
Yeah, Allegra and Keeley are your two basic sprinters. They get out very fast. Tim Keeley was 11th at this event last year. He went out fast and he held on pretty well.
Let's take a look at how they turn and come back.
Dirk Steinfort from Lincoln seemed to have gotten off the wall at the far end the quickest in lane number 5, and he seems to be stretching out his lead.
Ryan Nevins also had a good bounce. As a matter of fact, give the victory in this one, yes, to lane 5, Dirk Steinfort, but Ryan Nevins with a good close to finish second in the consolation of the 100-yard butterfly. Steinfort's winning time unofficially 51.95 seconds, and that's 0.06 of a second better than the next best.
They're so close that, you know, anybody can win it. It's just whoever has the technique and finishes in the right spot.
Tim Keeley was third out of Fenwick High School. Here's the end of the race and a good chase to the finish, a good stretch run.
Okay, Dirk's a very tall swimmer, and he gets a lot of push out of his legs, and it's timing. It's whoever has the stroke at the right time and reaches for the wall and doesn't have to take another stroke.
And, you know, as a matter of fact, that was the thing about it, that Nevins just seemed to be on the downstroke rather than the upstroke, if that's the way you want to call it. So we go to the championship round of the 100-yard butterfly. Let's take a look at this field. Joe McCombs from Marmion Academy. Here's one of your top dogs. Mike Miller out of Freeport in lane 3. Tucker Shade, here he is, the new state record holder from MacArthur High School in Decatur. Wes Rudin of Ursuline in Springfield in lane 5. Matthew Garrison, a sophomore from East Peoria in lane 6. Todd Laird of Conant High School in lane 7. He's also a sophomore.
5 of these 6 swimmers were in the top 12 last year in this race. Of course, Tucker Shade is a defending state champion. He took out the state record time yesterday in 23:49. So we're going to be looking for a time at least that fast to see if he can do it.
His total time, 49.54 seconds. He shattered the old record by 0.15 of a second, and in swimming, that is shattering the old record.
Okay, he's out in 23:15. He's ahead of the pace yesterday. He's getting a little bit of a push from Wes Rudin, who was 5th last year. Tucker looks very strong. The key to Tucker is going to be this turn. If he can stay underwater and get some good kick and get away from the field. He's opened up about a half a body length lead. We could see another state record right here.
Wes Rudin is giving chase. He'll finish second, but the question is not who, but by how much is Tucker Shade unofficially.
Just misses his state record by 4/100ths of a second.
How about that? So he gave it the good run, but once again, another dominant performance as Tucker Shade becomes our first double medal winner here in 1995.
First double winner. He repeats state championship. 49.58. He's out faster for the first 50, but didn't come back quite as fast.
Oh, Wes Rudin knocked nearly a second off his time, 0.8 off his time yesterday. Here's the stretch run.
Okay, he's got a good lead, so he's really just swimming for himself here. You see Wes Rudin just starting to pull up on him, but not enough. The big race here was for third, and it looked like lane number 3, Mike Miller from Freeport, pulled it out.
Just ahead of Todd Lair, the sophomore out of Conant High School in Hoffman Estates, a kid, I guess, Tim Dowling, that we'll look for later on.
Yes.
Stand by. Plenty more to come at the 1995 IHSA Boys Swimming and Diving Championships. I'm Brian Davis. Stay with us, won't you? Tucker Shade takes his second bow of the day. Our first double winner here this time around. Well, yesterday he set the new record for the 100-yard butterfly, and he goes ahead and finishes it off today. He wins this race and does so handily. 49.58 seconds, misses his own just set state record by 0.04 of a second. Let's take a look at the final board. Shade, your winner. Rudin, Miller, Laird, Garrison, and McCombs, 2 through 6 on the finishing board. Under the heading of "You Can Go Home Again," Tim Dowling, if you take a look at those two fellas right there, Richard Leppman and Howie Lehmann, New Trier graduates who 50 years ago in 1945 won some hardware here on their home pool or in their home pool. Richard Leppman, the gentleman to your right in the green shirt, in the 100-yard freestyle. Howie Lehmann as part of the 200-yard relay team. 50 years later, they're back in their old stomping grounds. They look just as good as ever.
They look like they're ready to jump in.
Well, I'll tell you what, Richard Leppman is winning time in the 100-yard freestyle 50 years ago, 56.9 seconds. Let's get set for the consolation race for the 100-yard freestyle. Quickly, lanes 2 through 7. Chris Cole of Hinsdale Central. Michael Rabenus of St. Charles. Paul DeRussa from Prem. DeRussa from Prem High School in Palatine. Tim Paschke from Maine South. Jim Faber from Barrington. And Pat Emmons from Marmion Academy.
Tim Paschke is our sprinter. He usually in lane number 5 likes to go out very fast. He went out 22.4 yesterday. He's out pretty well today. He's in first place, a little bit slower than yesterday. But what seems to be getting lost right now is the team race. We have 3 members up there. Hinsdale in 2, Palatine's in 4, and Marmion's in 7. These are all valuable team points.
So this is the consolation race, but there is plenty at stake, and you can hear the crowd urging their guys on. And in lane 6, Jim Faber of Barrington, but look up at DeRussa from Fremd High School, and it is Paul DeRusso from Fremd, giving his boys a little bit of bump in the team standings.
Yes, and he held his seed position, 47.37. He improved his time a little bit. He went out a little bit slower than yesterday, but came back stronger.
By 0.06 of a second, your second place finisher, Jim Faber from Barrington. Let's take a look at the stretch run again. Faber looking pretty good, but not quite able to get up to his bester.
It looked like Faber had the race. He just didn't seem to finish quite as strong as DeRussa.
Third place in lane 3, Michael Rabanus from St. Charles. For so long, a good powerhouse school here at the IHSA meet. Now let's take a look at the big dogs in the 100-yard freestyle. The state record, 44.47 seconds. And from the top of your screen in lane 2, Ryan Lonergan from Woodruff High School in Peoria. Lane 3, another Hinsdale Central swimmer, Brian Bateman, part of a great brother act here. Lane 4, Chad Gandon from Naperville North. Palatine High School's Kirk Larson is in lane 5. Chris Dix from Prospect in lane 6. And Mundeline's Josh Mathias back in the pool in lane 7, bottom of your screen.
Okay, Brian Bateman and Chris Dixon are your early speed racers in lanes 3 and 6. Ryan Lonergan finished in a tie in an earlier race in the 50s, so we know we've got some sprinters out here. Brian Bateman usually has great turns, which should come into play during this race.
Chris Dix has got a slight lead as they hit the halfway point. Brian Bateman in lane 3, next to the top of your screen, also giving a good run. This is a fresh crop of finalists. We'll have a brand new guy here.
In the middle of the field, we got Chad Gannon, and Kirk Larson has pulled back into the field, and it looks like Chad Gannon is starting to move away up in lane number 4.
Gannon had a great turn. He's going to stretch it out, and he's going to win it. In 46.26 seconds, Kirk Larson from Palatine. An excellent stretch run by Larson to finish second. And in third place, Matthias and Mundelein. These other guys got gas down the stretch.
Well, they all had great races. We're not looking at big time differences.
I speak in relative terms, you understand.
Relative terms. They all improved their times from yesterday. Okay,
Here,
when they come out of the last turn,
yeah.
you can see Chad. He came out almost even with Kirk, but he seemed to get himself going a little bit faster. He looks like he's got a longer turnover. You can see his orange cap pull away. It makes it a nice numbering for us, and he easily touched out Kirk.
Brian Bateman from Hinsdale Central finishes 4th. The 5th place finisher to Ryan Lonergan of Peoria Woodruff, and then in 6th place, Chris Dix of Prospect High School. More to come. We're going to have the medal ceremony for this one, and then one of the big ones, one of the endurance races, the endurance race coming up, the 500-yard freestyle at the 1995 IHSA Boys Swimming and Diving Championships from New Trier. Chad Gandon, the junior from Naperville North, with the winner's smile as he heads to the winner's circle, or what passes for same, as he takes the big medal in the 100-yard freestyle. 46.26 seconds. Tim, that was a great race.
It was a great race. We seem to be spreading out a lot of our winners. Chad was a finalist earlier. He swam a 200 last year, 50 this year. Great race in the 100. He's going to help his team.
Chad Gandon wins it by, about 0.3 of a second and change over Kirk Larson, the senior from Palatine High School. In 3rd place, Josh Matthias from Mundelein. Your 4th place finisher from Hinsdale Central, Brian Bateman. Then Ryan Lonergan from Peoria Woodruff in 5th. And Chris Dix from Prospect High School in Mount Prospect is your 6th place finisher. Now, here comes the distance event in the championship round. It is the 500-yard freestyle. And again, we start with the consolation race. Brian Baroni, sophomore from Naperville Central, in lane 2 at the top of your screen. Then Chris Case from Normal Community High School in lane 3, down toward the medal. Jared Janesco from Peoria's Richwood High. Chris Ferris in Naperville Central, the senior in lane 5. Brian Moshier, we've seen him today already. We see him again in the consolation of the 500 freestyle out of U-High in Normal. And Wes Ebanks, the freshman from St. Charles.
All right, we're waiting for the timer or the swimmers to get their counters ready. This is the one race where they're allowed an assistance. Swimmers lose track when they swim 20 lengths.
Explain that just a little bit more. You'll see some people dipping something into the pool here. What are they dipping into the pool?
Okay, they're numbered cards. They're odd numbered, and as a swimmer approaches, they'll be trying to focus in so they know where they are. A lot of swimmers have strategy that on certain numbers they change their pace, and then when they are on their last turn, instead of a number, they'll see a fluorescent orange card.
Now there's one right there, and you can see on the back just a shade there's that orange fluorescent flashing through. So that's what we'll be looking at, or actually that's what the swimmers will be looking at here in the 500-yard freestyle. Okay. Now yesterday, Bill Bishop from Barrington, and we'll talk about him a little bit more, but he set the standard here with it was the best so far this year in the state. 4 minutes, 34 and 1/100th of a second. Now if you look at this field, Janesco from Peoria Richwood's best in the show at 4:44.96 to give you an idea of the step down here. But still, I say that in relative terms because, heck, these guys are at state.
Right. Well, you're going to see 6 swimmers that are about 3 seconds apart. They're going to be all swimming a slightly different race. Some will try to go out faster, some will hold back, and we'll talk more about this during the race.
Ready to go. We're freestyling.
Okay, each of the swimmers has their own idea about what they like to do. This is called a distance race. For these kids, they must think it's a sprint because they're just moving as hard as they can.
Something that you do notice in this race sometimes, and I've seen films of previous 500s, that they do start fairly briskly and then settle in to a more moderate pace.
Well, moderate pace, we just talked about our state champion of 50 years ago. These swimmers are going to swim 5 100s, all of them faster than his state championship time. So it's a moderate pace, but it's still very fast.
You know what's interesting? Richard Leppman's 56.9 second 100-yard freestyle. The freshman girls here at New Trier are going faster than that these days. Let's take a look at this race, and a fairly even spread in the pack, Tim.
Okay, and in lane number 2, you have Chris Case, 54 seconds, 53.8 for the first 100. They're all out pretty even. Jared Janesco, he's really the class of this field. He's a one-man race. He'll stay with the field for about 200, 250 yards, and then he likes to start to take off and see if they'll go with him. And sometimes you'll see swimmers moving from side of the lane to get a better look at their competitors. Some breathe only on one side, so they like to know what everybody else is doing.
Now, this is a race where moving side to side within the lane is not as costly, shall we say, as it is in the shorter distances.
Right.
That's generally not a good idea, right?
Right, yeah, not as costly, but like what some of the swimmers like to do is get up close to their competitors. There's a theory, there's some drag. If you get in close enough, you can be pulled along. And unfortunately, swimmers never practice in a lane by themselves, so they circle swim. So it's a habit for them also.
Chris Case out of Normal Community High School is your leader through 200 yards, and then just next to him and just behind him on the board, Jared Janesco from Peoria, Richwood.
Right, Janesco and Chris Ferris are both swimming right at the pace they swam yesterday. Brian Baroni is right where he belongs. They're all swimming a very solid race. Again, you should see Jared Janesco, after this turn, start to make a little bit of a move.
Case, Janesco, Ferris, and then at the top of your screen, Baroni from Naperville Central, and then a little bit behind, Mosier from Normal University, and Ebanks, the freshman from St. Charles, in lane 7.
Right. Chris Ferris, he also likes to start picking it up during the 300 mark. So the three of them should start to pull away from the pack. And the last 100, it's an all-out sprint.
Funny you should say that, because they have just really started to do that on their last turn. And again, in lane 4, it's Janesco, and then lane 2 to his right, Case, and then just to his left, Ferris in 3rd place.
Jared he's a little bit slower than yesterday, but so are the other two on either side of him. Now they're coming down for the 400-yard mark, which means they're getting close. They only have 6 lengths to go, 350.
Ferris has popped into the lead here. We'll see if that holds up, but he has made a move here off that last turn.
Well, Chris was 9th in this event last year. He does have the speed. We've seen it in earlier races. He is a sprinter, and he's a lot of strength. 3:48.10 was his split at the 400 mark. He's going into the wall. You can see his counter flashing the 15 up and down, trying to get him to go a little bit faster.
He glides very well off the turn.
He comes off the wall underwater. These are the little mechanical things that make the swimmers go faster. It doesn't take any effort, it just makes you go faster.
Chris Ferris is first, Jared Janesco second, and then Chris Case again in lane 3 next to the top of your screen. He is 3rd, but Ferris looks like he's starting to almost run away from it. I don't want to speak too soon on that, but
well, you're going to hear the gun go off. With 2 lengths and 5 yards to go, the lead swimmer gets a gun, a warning gun, to let him know to sprint. Everybody knows the gun is there, and every other swimmer knows exactly where they are in relation to the winner.
Brian Mosher is also making a move. It is a 3-way race at this point for 2nd place. Mosher to Ferris's left in lane 6. Janesco and Kay still duking it out just to the right of Janesco, or to Ferris rather, in lanes 3 and 4. But here he comes.
Mosher is having a great meet. He's had a great earlier race. He may hold on for 2nd. Janesco is going to have a hard fight to hang on to 3rd. Case looks like he's got to get him.
Yes, indeed. He certainly did. So Jared Janesco starts out strong, sets the pace, and winds up getting out-kicked. in the end, is once again Chris Ferris, the senior out of Naperville Central, does his team some good here in the consolation race.
Okay, Chris, he improved his time by over 4 seconds. He was 9th last year. He just finished 7th. That's pretty good coming.
So Ferris, and then Moshier, and then in lane 3, Chris Case, the freshman now.
Yep, freshman. Another freshman.
Remember that guy. And then Janesco. Top of your screen, the man who was swimming for Naperville Central, Brian Baroni, and then Wes Ebanks, another freshman from St. Charles High School. Here's the championship field for the 500-yard freestyle. The state record, 4:25.54. Bill Bishop yesterday from Barrington High School, 4:34.01. Bill Bishop will be racing in lane 4. We'll see him, take a close look at him in just a moment. We've got some guys cooling down.
Yeah, they let them do a little bit of a warm down, especially after a long race like that. Their muscles can build up some bad byproducts, lactic acid, that they want to get rid of. We don't want to get too technical here.
Let's take a look at the championship race field. Greg Bussey, he's back from Waubonsee Valley, top of your screen. The sophomore in lane 2. Mark Landowski from Lake Forest, lane 3. Bill Bishop from Barrington, lane 4. Tim Berry, the freshman from Oak Park River Forest, is in lane 5. Tim Shealy from Conant, lane 6. And Brother Rice's Frank Leo is back in the pool in lane 7.
Okay, you have 3 swimmers that were in the finals last year. Greg Bussey was 11th in this race. Bill Bishop finished 2nd, and Frank Leo finished 3rd. So you should see, even though Frank Leo is down in lane 7, we should see him do a little bit better than that.
Bill Bishop showed the gamer in him in the preliminaries. Tim Berry, the freshman from Oak Park River Forest, swam what at the moment, or for the moment, was a state's best for the season, 4:34 and 69/100ths. Bishop took it back at 4:34.01.
Well, Tim Berry is he's a freshman. He's still learning how to race at this level, but he's a sprinter. He goes out hard and he stays hard. He led the field by 1.5 seconds at the 100 yesterday, and he led it by almost 2 seconds at the 200. He's getting some good push, though, from Frank Leo. They're out pretty fast.
Let's compare these times. Bishop's 4:34 and change yesterday, better than 2 seconds faster than his, what was a best for the state sectionals at 4:36.84.
Well, the kids, they taper differently going into a state meet like this, so sectional times don't necessarily mean anything. The event winner to sectional automatically goes.
Tim Berry is your leader at this particular turn.
And Frank Leo is staying with him. Berry, don't be fooled, though. Bill Bishop is a very strong swimmer. He goes out slower. He's more methodical.
Berry has got a nice glide,
He's a tall kid, and he's only going to get stronger as he grows.
So it is Berry as we get to 200 yards. Berry and then Bill Bishop next to him in lane 4 moves into 2nd place.
Tim was out at 1:46.55 yesterday. He's 1:46.52 today. He's out faster. Bill Bishop was 1:48.3 yesterday, so Bill's a 2nd faster.
Tim Shealy from Conant High School in Hoffman Estates. Right now, you got a sophomore in 3rd place, and then Frank Leo from Rice.
They're swimming their races. It's a matter now who can come down the last 100 yards. Halfway through, Tim Berry still has a nice lead on Bill Bishop, and the rest of the field is fighting for their 3rd and 4th places.
That's exactly right. And again, as you go from top to bottom, Greg Bussey from Waubonsee Valley, Mark Landowski from Lake Forest, Bill Bishop from Barrington, Tim Berry from Oak Park River Forest, Tim Shealy from Hoffman Estates, and in the near lane on your screen, Frank Leo from Brother Rice.
Okay, this is the 50 that Bill Bishop likes to make his move on. This is the 350 to 400 yard mark. Tim Berry is beating him off every wall. He's beating him on the turns. Bill then fights back and catches him at the length.
Bumps into the lead, as a matter of fact.
He moves in there, almost even going into the wall. Tim Berry comes out maybe a hair ahead, but pretty even. Yesterday, Tim Berry had a slight lead at the 400 mark, and Bill Bishop just ran away from him the last 4 lengths.
Well, and Bill Bishop now just inching. Berry sort of inched back to a neck-and-neck posture, but now Bill Bishop starting to take command, the junior from Barrington High.
Yep. Starting to take a lead. He's moving away from him a little bit. He tries to move away from him on the lane lines whenever he can. Makes Tim work a little bit harder. Lane number 6, Tim Shealy is holding a solid 3rd. And up at the top, Greg Bussey is holding on to 4th. 4 lengths to go. He's about 2 seconds faster than he was yesterday, and he had a much stronger finish. So we could see Bill Bishop down right around 3:30, 3:31, or 4:30, 4:31 for the final time.
And you know he'd take that, no question about it. Makes that turn, and now he comes up, came up a little bit soon on that particular turn.
Well, sometimes they get tired. They need a little bit more air than they'd like to have. The gun went off, let him know he had 2 lengths and 5 yards. So now it's just an all-out sprint. Tim Berry's not going to let him go easy, though. Tim is coming up after him.
He most certainly is.
They're going to try to get their legs into this, get a little more action.
There's the orange placard saying, "Go for it, baby. You're 25 from home."
Yep. Tim Berry had a great turn. He's closing the gap, but I don't know if he's got enough room.
Bill Bishop is going to win this thing.
And Gary Bussey Greg Bussey and Tim Shealy are fighting it out for 3rd. Tim is at the top of your screen. Greg Bussey getting it.
Bussey gets it by about a half second. 4:32.20. Bill Bishop's winning time in the 500-yard freestyle. And that by a second plus, 1.38 seconds over the runner-up Tim Berry. But again, for a freshman. And here's the end of the race again. Bill Bishop, not to be denied. You could almost see it.
Yeah, he had this race all the way. He had it under control. A lot of swimmers in the 500. They don't know what they want to do. He was set. He went out easy, stayed with the swimmers. He knows his training.
Tim Shealy from Conant finished 4th place. The 5th place finisher, Mark Klandowski from Lake Forest High School, and Frank Leo from Chicago's Brother Rice is 6th. We'll be back momentarily for the medal presentation and our very next event. It's the 200-yard freestyle relay. Big noise in Winnetka continues the 1995 IHSA Boys Swimming and Diving Championships. Our next Blackhawks game on Sports Channel tonight. Live coverage begins at 6:30 p.m. with the Blackhawks pregame show, followed by the Hawks and the Stars at Reunion Arena in Dallas. Brian Davis and Tim Dowling back at New Trier High School, where we're into the 200-yard freestyle momentarily after we take a bow for Bill Bishop, your 500-yard freestyle champion. This will be the consolation race for the 200-yard freestyle. Tim Dowling with his
This is 4 people going as fast as they can. We have Greg Bussey of Aurora, Waubonsie Valley in 2. Pat Leahy from Loyola in 3. Michael Rabenus, St. Charles in 4. Chris Mulcone, Brother Rice in 5. Brad Davis, Naperville Central in 6. And Alan Lafer in 7. They are in and out so fast it's hard to watch.
Let's see who hits the water. Okay, top of your screen, Waubonsie Valley.
Okay, Brian Cox in the water for Waubonsie. Mike Kennedy from Loyola. Gavin Anderson for St. Charles. Mike Stancic for Brother Rice. Eric Lazari from Naperville Central. And Billy Ginn for Deerfield.
St. Charles and Rice 2 and 3 behind Waubonsie Valley, which holds your lead at the second exchange.
Okay, Mike Revers is in the water for Waubonsie. In Loyola, Neil Leahy. For St. Charles, Darius Griglunas. Lane 5, TJ Zuga for Brother Rice. Brian Baroni, Naperville Central. And David Wellner for Deerfield.
Here come the anchormen. And it still belongs to Waubonsie Valley.
Waubonsie Valley, Tim Snyder is going to bring them home. In lane 3 is Pete Wace from Loyola. Lane 4, Kevin Souk from St. Charles. Frank Leho from Brother Rice, who's going to bring him back in lane 5. Chris Ferris in 6 and Mark Randall in 7.
1:27 and 66 your winning time for Waubonsie Valley. The second place finish to Brother Rice. A minute 28 even, so 3/10 of a second, give or take, Tim.
It's all in the
difference
takeoff.
between first and second. Let's take a look at the end of the race, and once again, it was pretty much a wire-to-wire situation for the winners.
Tim Smyers, he looked pretty good. Frank Leo came back, and I thought he was going to catch him. He needed about another yard, and he might have gotten there.
So into the championship heat momentarily, and this one again has got some major implications, Tim, for the team championships.
Now the team championship, you have all 5 of the teams vying for the trophies are right here. Big time points for Hinsdale Central in 4 and Naperville North in 3.
State records, a minute 25.61. Your best time, Central at 1:25.90. It's within reach.
It's definitely not only in reach, but there could be a couple of them in reach.
Freeport Senior High School will be at the top of your screen, lane 2. Then Naperville North coming down. Hinsdale Central in lane 4. Marmion in lane 5. Peoria Richwoods in lane 6. And then Fremd High School from Palatine. We're ready to rumble.
Take your mark.
Freeport is in 2. Chad Gannon, Naperville, ought to get him off in 3. Brian Bateman, Hinsdale Central in 4. Joe McCombs in 5. Yo-Yo Yamada from Richwoods in 6. And Paul DeRussa from Fremd in 7.
Well, we got a good run here in lanes 4 and 5 between Hinsdale Central and Marmion in the early going. And here's the exchange and into the water. First, Hinsdale Central.
Okay, Freeport's Mark Whelan in 2. Ryan Kelly from Naperville in 3. Chris Cole from Hinsdale in 4. Ryan Colt in 5 for Aurora. Dave Springsteen from Richwoods. And Mark Kajeski from Fremd in 7. Watch 7.
And watch number 4. Marmion takes the lead, at least for the moment. 3, 4 swimmers into the water simultaneously.
Well, you got 5 teams fighting for the championship. Derek Rashad at the top. Vince Kuna in 3, Cam Corden in 4, Pat Emmons 5, Rob Sultan in 6, and Clint McHugh in 7. And it looks like Vince Kuna in 3.
And into your lead, Naperville North. This is the last one, folks. Down and back, and we'll have a champion.
Your anchors, Mike Miller in 2, Chris Williams in 3, Vince Allegra in 4. Hugh Oxensager in 5, Bob Springsteen in 6, and Pat Law in 7.
It's a 3-way race to the finish, and the winner is Hinsdale Central. Your second place finisher, Naperville North. And Hinsdale Central beats the state record
by 2/100ths of a second.
How about that? And you ought to see those guys at the podium.
Okay, this is a 3-team race coming in. Any one of them can do it. Vince Allegra from Hinsdale Central seems to be kicking just a little bit harder than the rest. He's driving for the wall. He's opening up a little lead, but it's a state record for them.
How about that? What a rush. And they knew it, too. Tim, they knew it. They looked at the clock. They said, yes, and the fists go into the air. So some more excitement, another reason to love this sport. We got more coming. I'm Brian Davis. He's Tim Dowling from New Trier High School. This is the 1995 IHSA Boys Swimming and Diving Championship meet. Saw somebody running around here with a t-shirt that said on the back, there is no try, only do. Well, Hinsdale Central has done in a big way in the 200-yard freestyle relay. A new state record in their victory, 1 minute 25.59 seconds. That taking 2/100ths of a second, Tim Dowling, off the mark set just last year by the now defending state champions, Fremd of Palatine.
That was a very important race because of the point totals. Even though Palatine still leads, they only lead Naperville by ½ a point and Hinsdale by 7½ right now. And this next race, the backstroke, is going to be key.
So Hinsdale Central, your winner, again with the state record performance over North. Marmion Academy of Aurora in 3rd place. Fremd is 4th. Peoria Richwoods was 5th, and then Freeport was disqualified. Somebody jumped the start on the exchange, I guess, and so it goes sometimes.
Yeah, that would be the guess.
So here we go now into the 100-yard backstroke. This is the consolation event. And in lane 2 again, top to bottom, as they warm up, Charles Mitchell, the senior from Naperville North. Trevis Milton, a junior from Evanston Township, is in lane 3. Stephen Seiler, a sophomore from Westmont. He is one of the few unattached swimmers here. In other words, his high school has no team. He's in the middle, lane 4. Patrick Johnson of Bloomington, lane 5. Ryan Rogers, a junior from Springfield High, in lane 6. And then at the bottom of your screen, Rob Kelly, the sophomore from Naperville North, will be in lane 7.
You hate to put pressure on the swimmers, but Chaz Mitchell in 2 and Rob Kelly in 7 of Naperville North need to both move up in this race if Naperville wants to have a chance to win the state championship.
See, this is why to call it a consolation event is somewhat misleading.
Right, they can't win the big medal, but the team points are important, and the team trophy is what they're all shooting for. Steve Seiler in 4 and Pat Johnson in 5 are your basic sprinters. They go out real fast. Lane 5, Pat Johnson's out a little faster than yesterday. Chaz Mitchell had a nice first 50, 26 flat. He's out about a half a second faster, and he looks like he's going to challenge for the championship of the consoles.
He's in 2nd place at the turn. And they come back, and it is still Johnson from Bloomington, Mitchell from Naperville North, but making some noise toward the bottom of your screen. Rogers of Springfield, and then back up to the top, Milton from Evanston. And your winner, Pat Johnson from Bloomington.
Pat Johnson for Bloomington. Chaz Mitchell did move up. He gave his team about 2 extra points. That's going to help him.
And 0.08 of a second better, hey, than the independent, Steve Seiler. That's a tough situation.
Yeah, when your school doesn't have a pool, doesn't have a team, you don't have much of a chance to develop team unity. In here you can see in lane number 5, Pat Johnson, he had an easy lead. They're counting their strokes from the backstroke flags in, and they're hoping to hit it right.
And Seiler just had that good glide at the end to take 2nd place. Here come the guys, one of whom will be champion. The 100-yard backstroke, lane 2 at the top of your screen. Justin Nwida, again the freshman, the hometown favorite from New Trier High School, the host school here for the championship meet. Greg Plank in lane 3, back from Palatine High School. And then the outstanding sophomore, Jay Glenn from Fremd. Hey, I'll tell you what, his performance so much better, more than a second's advantage, I believe, over the next best guy in the prelims. So look for Glenn in lane 4. Brian Bateman, the junior from Hinsdale Central, in lane 5. Ryan Nevins from Ottawa, lane 6. And Brian Bateman's brother, Chris, is in lane 7. So a brother act and teammates in this championship race. Away they go.
Well, 5 of them were all finalists in this event last year, other than Justin Nwida, who's a freshman. The other 6 all medaled in the backstroke race.
So let's see who has it at the turn. Very close, very close. But look in lane 5, Brian Bateman and Jay Glenn just next to him in lane 4.
Well, as you said, Jay Glenn is defending tied champion from last year. He needs to win this race. Hinsdale and Fremd are so close in points that any swing in this seed would hurt the other team.
It's Glenn by an eyelash. Brian Bateman still 2nd as they make this turn.
Coming up in lane 7 is Brian's brother, Chris. He's making a move to try to help the team.
Look at Plank from Palatine in lane 2, but let's see how it shakes out. They hit it. And your winner, Jay Glenn, repeats.
Jay Glenn.
For Fremdo, a huge victory, not only for himself, but again, as you mentioned, Tim, in the team context.
Correct.
That's huge. 0.04 of a second separating Jay Glenn and Greg Plank, the junior from Palatine High School.
It's such a close race that we're lucky we have the touch pads. They're coming in. When they cross out of those green and white flags, they're trying to count their strokes. They know they're 15 feet away, and they're trying to hit. They're almost stroke for stroke, and it's just the glide.
The Bateman brothers, Ryan and Chris, finished 3 and 4 for Hinsdale Central.
So they pick up an extra point, I believe, on that one. So now we're down. This could be a 1-point meet at the end of this race.
Only 2 events left, more coming. It is big noise in Winnetka, the 1995 IHSA Boys Swimming and Diving Championships. Our next Bulls game on Sports Channel will be Thursday, March 2nd. Live coverage begins 6 p.m. with the pregame show, followed by the Bulls and their good, close personal friends, the New York Knicks. Back here at New Trier, huge victory for Jay Glenn of Fremden Palatine in the 100-yard backstroke as he gets his medal from Charles McCarthy. He's from Orland Park. He's the president of the Illinois Swimming Officials Association. He's the meet referee for this year's state finals. He also serves the IHSA as a member of the Boys and Girls Swimming Advisory Committee. And Jay Glenn's victory sets up a terrific finish. Tim Dowling, it is going to go to the very last event. It's going to go to the last event. Naperville North has one swimmer in the breaststroke. There could be 3 teams within 3 points of each other going to the last race. It's going to be a horse race going to that free relay. Let's take a look how they shook out. Once again, Glenn wins it for Fremd in 51.26 seconds. And then in second place, Greg Plank from Palatine, the junior, with a great stretch run, 0.04 of a second behind. Then another half second and change before you get to the Bateman brothers. Brian in third place and Chris in fourth place for Hinsdale Central, and then Ryan Nevins of Ottawa Township High School and the home guy Justin Nowida in sixth place representing New Trier. Through 6 events, how about this? 103.5 for Fremd, 103 even for Hinsdale Central, and Naperville North. Tim, they could make some noise. They could if Tim Carlson in lane number 5 can win this heat. He can put his team right in there for the big trophy. Consolation race for the 100-yard breaststroke, top to bottom. Andy Anderson from Glenbrook North. Then Rodrigo Lobey from Brother Rice in lane 3. Again, we're going top to bottom. John Bruce from Glenbard East High School. Tim Carlson, the freshman from Naperville North. Jason Nagel from Marmion. And then Brent Ransom from Kenwood Academy in Chicago. Okay, we should see John Bruce give us a little bit of a lead, but we're getting Brent Ransom from Kenwood really stretching out in lane 7. He was here a couple of years ago and showed pretty strong, if I recall correctly. Yes. And for the top of our screen, Andy Anderson from Glenbrook North has seemed to move out into a lead. He's about a second faster than yesterday, so he's looking good. Bruce and Lobey making bids as well. Rodrigo Lobey, the senior from Rice, in lane 3, and then John Bruce from Glenbard East. He's another unattached swimmer. Right. Bruce is moving up. He's come off the turn well, but I don't know if he's going to have enough to catch Anderson. As it turns out, no, he does not. But he finishes second. Both those guys sub-minutes. 59.65 your winning time, and then John Bruce at 59.97. Actually a little bit off of what he did here in the preliminaries. Right, he was 52.92. But Anderson, he went almost a second faster. That makes a big difference. Brent Ransom does finish third in fourth place. Tim Carlson from Naperville North. Fifth place goes to Jason Nagel, and then sixth place to Lobey from Brother Rice. Okay, as they were coming in, it looked like Anderson was going to be caught by Bruce, but he held on. He had a good stretch at the finish. Bruce had to just glide in a little bit. He was sort of in between strokes. Now comes the championship round, and I guess we freeze the team standings for the time being because none of the final contenders have representatives in the finals of the 100-yard breaststroke. Lane 2, Pat Leahy, the junior from Loyola Academy here in Wilmette. Adam Gazauskas, the sophomore from Oak Park River Forest, in lane 3. Lane 4 is Brad Davis, the junior from Naperville Central. Eric Van Gotham, a sophomore from Libertyville High School, is in lane 5. Ryan Olison from Wheaton North is in lane 6. He's a junior. And then another senior, Mark Rotblot from Freeport Senior High School, at the bottom of your screen in lane 7. Okay, Ryan Olson in lane number 6 likes to go out very fast. He gets a good sprint going, should lead the pack. Eric Van Gotham from Libertyville should be right with him at the first 50. And Olson does have that early lead as they make their very first turn. Brad Davis from Naperville Central keeping up.
Okay, Ryan Olson has got the lead at the first 50. They're all real close, getting off, getting a good underwater pull is important. And not staying under too long. Stay under too long and you hurt yourself.
Gazauskas, the sophomore from Oak Park River Forest, did get a good push that last turn.
Yep. And he seems like he's caught him on this turn, so we'll see what happens coming off the wall. Getting up fast and stroking is important. Lane number 5 is Van Gotham. He looks like he's taking the lead now.
Well, Brad Davis from Naperville Central. It's a 3-horse race to the stretch. Let's see who hits it first.
Van Gotham.
It belongs to Van Gotham, the sophomore from Libertyville, by a whisker over Brad Davis from Naperville Central, 0.05 of a second.
Great finish. They were both right there. It was all who reached farthest.
And you know, it was interesting. I thought that Adam Gazauskas maybe breached the water, if I can use a whaling term, a little bit soon on that final turn. Here they come.
Turn. Yeah, he seemed to come up a little bit, but that's an individual preference. I think the key is their timing of their stroke into the wall, where they are at the reach. They're both stroking together. Van Gotham's a little bit faster on his turnover. He was able to get the timing down.
So a state championship medal from the sophomore from Libertyville, and we'll be back for what will be the deciding event, folks. It is going to be the 400-yard freestyle relay. It's a fight to the finish here at New Trier. The winner of the 100-yard breaststroke, Eric Van Gotham, the sophomore of Libertyville High School. He's getting his champion's medal from Isaac Marshall Jr. He's the head boys and girls swimming coach at Lane Tech High School in Chicago. He serves the IHSA as a member of the Boys and Girls Swimming Advisory Committee. Going back to World War II times, Lane Tech for years a powerhouse in this arena.
Yeah, they won a few state championships in their time.
Van Gotham of Libertyville wins it at 58.37 over Davis of Naperville Central. Gazauskas of Oak Park River Forest in third. Olson of Wheaton North is fourth. Rotblatt of Freeport Senior in fifth. And Leahy of Loyola Academy finishes number 6 in the state this year. And now we come down to a situation where, well, between Fremd and the defending champion Fremd team and Hinsdale Central, whoever hits the touchpad first is going to win this event. We've got the consolations coming in the 400-yard freestyle relay. Brian Davis, by the way, back with Tim Dowling at New Trier High School. Consolations coming up, and then basically winner or best finisher, Tin, takes all.
Winner takes all. They're down there half a point apart. This is probably the closest state championship we've ever seen.
For the consolation, lanes 2 through 7. Brother Rice, Palatine, Lake Forest, Waubonsee Valley, Conant, and University High School from Normal. Good start.
Okay, the teams usually try to get off pretty fast. You've got Chris Mulcrone from Brother Rice in lane number 2. Todd Dennis from Palatine in 3. He took them out very fast yesterday. David Hemming from Lake Forest in 4th. Greg Bussey, he was also very fast in 5. Josh Popowski from Hoffman Estates. And in lane number 7, Clint Fuller from Normal.
Waubonsee Valley hits the marker first. The end of the first 50 yards. Look, though, top of your screen, and Palatine High School takes the lead here, coming back to finish the first 100.
Okay, swimmers are on the blocks. They're ready to go. They want to make sure the swimmer in front of them touches the wall before their little toes leave the blocks.
Good leap by the number 2 man in for Waubonsee Valley. Holy smokes.
In the water in lane 2 is TJ Zuzga from Brother Rice. In lane 3 is Paul Grisback. In 4, Alex Hoffman from Lake Forest. In 5, Brian Cox. In lane number 6, John Macko. And in lane number 7 is Brian Mosher. We're looking at lane number 5 to open up a pretty big lead during the first 200 to 225.
Great exchange for Cox, although Palatine is hanging in there. Palatine in lane 2 near the top of your screen. Then we'll give third place for the moment, at least, to Lake Forest High School. Then Brother Rice, and then Conant and University trailing big.
Waubonsee Valley has opened up a lead of about a half a second. See if they can hang on to it.
Boy, it looks like sort of one of those Blue Angels things, sort of stair-stepped right down, 1 through 4. Well, the distance among them fairly even.
If the seating worked, that's exactly what should happen. In lane number 2 is Mike Stancic. In 3, Kirk Larson. In 4, Mike Perlitek from Lake Forest. He should close the gap and maybe even give them the lead. In lane 5 is Mike Revers, and in 6 for Conant is Tim Shealy. In lane 7 is Ko Chung Leon from Normal.
Revers holding the lead for Waubonsie, but he's getting a challenge from Lake Forest.
The final swimmers, Mike Plendowski in 4, and in lane 5 is Tim Smizer. They finished almost in a dead heat yesterday.
Good glide for the man in lane 4. He represents Lake Forest High School, but still it's Waubonsie Valley, although at the turn, the distance narrows.
And in lane number 2 is Frank Leo. Everybody should start closing in a little bit. In lane 3 is Greg Plank. We've already seen him swim very well today. In lane number 5 is Todd Laird from Conant. And in lane 6 is our state champion earlier is Ryan Ruddy.
Now we've got a 3-horse race. Lanes 3, 4, and 5. Palatine, Lake Forest, and Waubonsie Valley.
Greg Plank at the top, Mark Plendowski in the middle, and Tim Smizer at the bottom. And Mark Plendowski from Lake Forest
wins it by the proverbial whisker.
Yes.
0.12 of a second.
They improved their time from yesterday by 2 seconds, had a great race.
Waubonsie Valley winds up 3rd in this one. Conant from Hoffman Estates in 4th place. Here's the end, and the momentum changed in the last, 50 yards?
Mark Plendowski looks like he's about 8 feet tall as he comes in with that wingspan. He just outreached everybody.
So there's how it stacks up for the consolation race, but now, folks, it becomes really winner or, again, best finisher. We're talking about the defending champion Fremd and their best challenger, and the only one who can take them, Hinsdale Central. Best finisher between those two takes all. 1.5 points separating these guys as they go into the final event of the day, the championship run for the 400-yard freestyle relay. Lane 2, Fenwick High School of Oak Park. Lane 3, Hinsdale Central, and then their main rivals right next door in lane 4, Fremd High School of Palatine. Marmion Academy of Aurora is in lane 5. Naperville North could spoil here, Tim Dowling in lane 6. And Peoria Richwoods also with a stake here as far as a good finish in the team standings in lane 7.
Well, Naperville North needs to have a good solid race in order to win a team trophy, but they don't have enough points unless they get a lot of help from Oak Park and Richwoods in knocking down Hinsdale and Fremd.
4 men, 100 yards per leg.
Mr. Starter, go 2-1.
And they're off.
Hey, Mike Brennan from Oak Park, Fenwick is in 2. Vince Allegra is leading off Hinsdale today. He did not do that yesterday. They've switched their order. Paul DeRussa from Fremd in 4. Joe McCombs in Marmion in 5. Chip Gandon, he should get lane 6 out to an early lead. And Chase Miller from Richwoods in 7.
Gannon from Conant does in fact have the early lead, but once again they are still fairly tightly bunched, especially above him as you look back toward the top of your screen. Let's come down from 2 on in. Brother Rice, Fenwick, Hinsdale Central, and Fremd, then Marmion Academy, then Naperville North.
There's a big advantage to being in the water first. You're getting out of everybody's way. The waves following everybody in.
Good jump at the exchange for Fremd and Palatine. They've got the lead.
Okay, Jim Anderson from Fenwick in 2. Chris Cole for Hinsdale in 3. Mark Kajiski, he brought Fremd back into the race yesterday. In 5 is Brian Cothe from Marmion, and Vince Kuna is going to try to hold the lead for Naperville in 6, and Yohei Yamada from Richwoods is in 7.
Naperville North in lane 6 does have the lead. Then it's Fremd and Hinsdale Central not terribly far behind, although Marmion Academy is making a push here on this middle leg.
Yeah, they're coming in. This is going to be a great finish. They still got 100, 200 yards to go.
It's Fremd, then Naperville North, and then Hinsdale Central at the exchange, 1, 2, and 3.
Okay, Matt Miller from Fenwick in 2. Of Cam Corden in 3. He should make a move. Jay Glenn, we've already seen him do some damage today. In 4, Pat Emmons in Marmion. In lane 6 is Brian Kelly, and in lane 7 is Jaron Janesco.
Hinsdale Central is making a move, but Jay Glenn is swimming with authority for Fremd in lane 4.
Okay, the final swimmers, and we ought to just let you watch, is Tim Keeley in lane 2. Brian Bateman from Hinsdale is in lane 3. Jim Patlaw will be in 4. Hugh Oxenschlager will be in 5. Chris Williams in 6, and Rob Springsteen in 7.
Here we go. It's still Fremd first, and then, well, we've got a challenge here from Hinsdale Central. Marmion Academy also making some noise, maybe trying to spoil this thing.
Well, Fremd is a good 2 to 2.5 seconds ahead of what they were yesterday. I don't think that Hinsdale is going to be able to close the gap.
As a matter of fact, the way it is shaping up now, it's going to be a race for second and third between Hinsdale Central and Marmion Academy of Aurora.
Jim Patlaw is holding the lead. He's got the turn. He's got a good second to a 2.5 lead. Coming down.
Jim Patlaw brings it home for Fremd. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it does indeed appear, and it is, that you have for Fremd High School a successful defense. Fremd of Palatine is your 1995 high school swimming champion.
Brian Bateman gave a good run at it, but he just didn't have enough.
Fremd finishes with a time of 3:07.54 and a fairly good edge in the end over the runners-up from Hinsdale Central. A great stretch run from Hinsdale Central from Bateman, but once again, oh, it's tough to fight with those defending top dogs.
Jim Patlaw just had too much going. His team gave him too big of a lead at the end of 300 yards. Nobody was going to catch him. Hinsdale easily cruising in for second.
Marmion Academy third. Naperville North finishes fourth. Your place finisher in this race, Fenwick High and then Peoria Richwoods, and we will be back to wrap it up momentarily. We're at New Trier once again. Fremd has defended its IHSA State Swimming Championship. An individual event championship chock full of deeper meeting for the Vikings of Fremd High School as they take the 400-yard freestyle relay, and with it, for the second consecutive year, the 1995 IHSA Swimming and Diving Championship. Brian Davis and Tim Dowling back at New Trier High School. And Tim, you've got a longer memory than I on these things, and I tell you, I'd be surprised to find that there was a closer race going in, only a half point separating Fremd from Hinsdale Central.
I can't think of anything that's been this close, so I can't believe there is one that has been this way.
Jay Glenn, well, he can wear his glasses now, and he can also smile big with his teammates as they knock down the 400-yard freestyle in 3:07.54. Fairly comfortable finish in the end over Hinsdale Central. The Red Devils at 3:08.88, then Marmion of Aurora at 3:09.31. Naperville North, Fenwick, and Peoria Richwoods finishing sixth. So those guys in the 400 freestyle relay, the best of the best here at the state meet in 1995. Now, we want to take a look at the final team totals. Fremd with the big victory in the 400. Knocks it out by a whopping 6.5 points over Hinsdale Central. Naperville North at 117 points, 135.5 to 129 to 117. Marmion winds up fourth at 92 points. And Peoria Richwoods with 71. Palatine High School at 61 points. And there is the way that the finalists shape up here at the 1995 championship for boys swimming and diving, the IHSA meet. A great event, as it turns out.
Now the 5 teams, 6 teams right up there. Anybody of the first 3 teams, Fremd, Hinsdale, and Naperville North, could have won this meet.
So as the guys huddle round, actually I think those may be the fellas from Richwood's giving themselves their final shot for the season, I guess.
Now they're waiting for the trophy presentation.
They actually go swimming with these things, don't they?
Yes, they do. They better get the lane lines unhooked, otherwise somebody's going to get hurt.
Fremd all fired up. And yes, they are, number one. And they're happy and proud to let everybody know. But you know something here? No gloating involved, really.
No.
This is one of the most sportsmanlike events. And you look all the way along, Naperville North, a good finish to third place. Obviously, you want to win the whole darn thing, but third place is not half shabby when you consider all the schools that compete in these events. But event after event, Tim, guys going down the line, winners and losers, shaking each other's hands, making jokes, patting each other on the back. Really terrific.
Well, these kids swim against each other 3 years, 4 years in high school, and a lot of them through age groups. They know each other very well. If you're cocky or you snub your nose at your opponents, you're lost.
Tom Schweer's Red Devils from Hinsdale Central will get the second place trophy from IHSA executive Ola Bundy. As a matter of fact, Tom Schweer, the coach, accept the runners-up medal.
Yes.
Here come his boys behind him.
Yeah, Tom is the coach, but the kids did the work. It's their trophy.
And they raise it proudly as well.
Yes.
So Hinsdale Central, the runner-up. Hinsdale Central, one of the great dynasties.
Yeah, they had a great string a few years ago. Many of them right in a row. 12 in a row. 16 total between 1967 and 1989. And as a matter of fact, for the second consecutive year, Hinsdale Central finishes as the runner-up to Fremd High School of Palatine. Now you have two great swimming programs at Hinsdale and at Palatine.
Why is it? Forgive the naive nature of this question, but when a team wins once, it usually comes back and gets some more.
Well, somebody had a sign out there that says success breeds excellence. And then when you're good, people want to get better.
These guys giving each other their salutations and congratulations momentarily. We'll take a look at the state champions. And here they come. The Vikings of Fremd, coached by Paul Reif. We don't mention the coaches' names, you're right. Tim, it's not the coaches that do it, but holy smokes, they're the game planners. They're the guys who juggle the lineups for things like the relays and such. They're the guys who do all the fleeting and wheedling and cajoling and the stroking and the congratulating.
Well, the coach has to for the entire season to keep them on one goal, and that's today. It's very easy for a 16, 17-year-old kid, and that's what these are as kids, to lose their focus. Now they think it's worthwhile, though.
And here they are. Back a second time, your 1995 Illinois High School Association swimming and diving champion, the Vikings of Fremd High School. I think that thing is about to go. There it goes for a swim. I hope they lacquered it up. Our next IHSA event on Sports Channel will be the 1995 IHSA Girls Class A and AA Basketball Championships. Saturday, March 4th, live at 3 p.m. It's the Girls Class AA title. And then at 8 p.m. on Sports Channel. Plus, girls, it's the Class A Championship. Replay of the Class A title game, 11:30 p.m. on the main channel on Sports Channel. This meet has been produced and directed by Dave Turner. The graphics coordinator, Matt Luke. Our production manager is Sheila Brown. The executive producer, Kathleen Carp. Our senior executive producer at Sports Channel is Mike Bogad. Remote facilities were provided by Trio Video of Chicago. For the coach, Tim Dowling, I'm Brian Davis. Thanks ever so much for joining us. We'll see you later. The proceeding has been an exclusive presentation of Sports Channel.